Okay, let's have a look at the hazard perception test and how it's marked. So on each clip, you will get a score of 5, apart from one of the clips where you will get a score of 10, which is two separate hazards. Now, the 5 will be how early you see the developing hazard. So watching this clip, you can see I have just clicked for the car approaching. Now, this doesn't end up being one of our scoring opportunities because it actually doesn't develop into a hazard. And I'm clicking here again for the mini roundabout. Now, looking ahead, we can see there is a cyclist, and as a good driver, you should be aware of that early on. However, that's not how the hazard perception works. What we need to do is click when it develops. So you're going to see the cyclist put his arm out. That's when we need to click, because that's when this situation has now gone from a potential hazard to a developed hazard. So that's where we're going to get our scoring points. Yay, I got a 5. So let's have a look at how this works. And this is something really important to do when you're practicing, is watch back your clips and see how you got your score. So my first flag here, which is where I clicked, which was for the car. Now, if that car had become a bigger problem, then I would have got a nice early score because I saw it nice and early, but it wasn't the developing hazard. It wasn't where I got a mark. And I can already see the cyclist, so an early click would have been good there, but it's not where you're going to get your score, because at this point it's just a potential hazard, not a developing hazard. Now you can see the green bar at the bottom here. That's where your score is. That's where your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The later you see it, the lower the score. So we're going to get a 5 now, and you can see the arm is out on the cyclist. I must have just got in there just before the 4, and then the 3, 2, 1, and obviously by this point you're a bit late seeing it and you're going to get a 0. So let's watch another video. So already watching this video, I'm scanning around, I'm looking for any potential hazards. Is it going to be the lorry ahead? Or is there a car going to come out from the left? Now looking ahead on the right, you can see a lorry and it's starting to turn. So I'm clicking now because it potentially might come out onto the dual carriageway. It has come onto the dual carriageway. So I'm clicking again now. They're definitely going to be slowing down and waiting for this lorry who's now decided to do a U-turn on the dual carriageway. So you can see as he first started turning, it might not have become the potential hazard, the developed hazard. It might have just been a potential hazard, because if he stops there, he's not really our problem. But once he came onto the dual carriageway, that's when we're getting our score. So I got myself another 5 there. Let's see how that worked. And again, if you look at the green bar at the bottom there, I probably only just got a 5. I might have been a bit late on clicking on this one. I think as long as you're hitting 4s and 5s quite regularly, you're going to get a decent score and be okay on the hazard perception. So looking ahead again, not many clicks on this one as we went through, because there wasn't any other potential hazards. So let's see where we can see that green line start and where we're going to see. You can already see the lorry. There's your 5 as he starts turning. I was a little bit late seeing it. Still got my 5, but obviously at this point, it's really late. If this was the point you were reacting as a driver, you'd be hitting the brakes pretty hard. So let's watch a slightly different type of video here. Looking around, scanning left and right, there's pedestrians, parked cars, any of them could be a problem. Looking at the junctions to see if they're a potential issue. Pedestrian crossing the road in the distance. Not clicked yet because nothing sort of kind of jumped out at me as a potential hazard yet. This car moving towards me is catching my eye. And then I've clicked there for the van coming from the left. Now this is quite a different sort of hazard because it's not developed over time. It's sort of jumped out at you. Obviously, you should be aware of the junction, and your eyes should be scanning the junction we're driving past. But the van's popped up out of nowhere, so that's something you've just got to be aware of when you're driving and on these hazard perception videos. So let's have a look at the score for this one. So we only got a 4 on this one, and I think you'd have to be pretty quick to get a 5 on this one. And we'll pause it in a minute where you get the 5. So this is something I always teach my learners when we're out driving, is looking for reflections when you're in housing estate. So it could be the reflections in the windows or reflections in the car, in parked cars' windows, and you might catch the sort of glimpse of a car before you can actually see the car, and that can help you react a lot quicker. And that's what happens on this one, is you get your 5 when the the van first appears in the window. So you can see there he is in the window, and that's your sort of 5. I probably just missed the 5 with my click. It's quite a short green bar, so the 4, 3, 2, 1 is going to go a lot quicker. Now, have you noticed I clicked twice on this one? That was just in case I'd clicked too early. And so I wanted to guarantee that I got at least some score if I'd accidentally jumped the gun and clicked a little bit before the green bar. If you click again, then you're probably going to get yourself at least a 3 looking ahead. Okay, so let's have another look at a video, another residential area. So looking ahead, we can see there's a puddle on the right and the car coming onto our side of the road, so I've clicked. That car wasn't actually our issue. Here is the red car that is our issue, caused us to stop because they've come onto our side of the road. So carrying on watching this video, we can see we've got a cyclist ahead of us, pedestrian on the left. You need to stay vigilant and be ready to click again, because this could be a clip that's got 2 hazards. It doesn't happen to be, but this is how you need to carry on looking around, be ready to sort of potentially click again. You can't just give up because you've seen that first hazard. And this applies to your driving in real life. Just because you've dealt with a potentially dangerous situation 20 seconds ago doesn't mean you're going to get another dangerous situation immediately after. So we've got a score of 4 on this one, so again a little bit late on the videos, and this is all about sort of kind of trying to react as soon as possible but without clicking too early. So again, you can see where the green bar is going to be, and you can probably just make out the puddle on the right there when you get your 5. And then again, it's quite a short bar, so the 4, 3, 2, 1, and I clicked again just to kind of guarantee a lower score if my first click was too early. Okay, so I hope that helps. My biggest tips, just to summarise, would be clicking twice on the developing hazard so that you guarantee yourself one of those lower scores if you accidentally click a little bit too early. Waiting for the hazard to develop. So you might have a hazard that is prolonged, like the cyclist that we had, but waiting for it to develop, so the cyclist's arm coming out, because you won't get scores for your potential hazards. However, you still want to click as they become a potential hazard, because some hazards develop really quickly, so you might get that 5 in that instant moment that it was a potential hazard. When you're practicing this, biggest tip is to have a go and then re-watch the video, have a look at where the green line was, have a look at where they were expecting you to click, and how you got your score, and that way you can review your own performance as you go through. Best of luck with the theory test.